everybody out there. You're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner, and I have count them, two very special guests in the corner for 2013. Now, I think we should let ladies introduce themselves first. So, if you could tell the audience who you are and why you're here.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Dawn, or otherwise known as Dawnry. I am the artist to Project Jikoku. Um, that's
Yep.
pretty much it.
uh, yes, good evening, everyone. I'm Master X, aka Lawrence Simpson, and I am the writer of Project Jikoku, as well as voicing some things on a thing you might know as Team 4 Star, maybe Dragon Ball Z Bridge. Ring any bells? No, I don't think it would. But anyway, the most important thing is here we're talking about the webcomic Project Jikoku, which I am the writer of.
I know, I've never heard of that Dragon Ball thing, but I mean,
No, I didn't expect you to. No, no. It's kind
sorry.
of in the dark. Hmm.
Sounds familiar to me.
No.
But now, for the comic, obviously you guys are working together, but one of the things that I really wanted to know is how did you guys meet? Because you can't make a project together if you don't know each other.
Well, I'll start this off because it was back in 2004 when I actually have a DeviantArt page, and I believe it was your Code Black series, Dawn, and I
Hmm.
saw one of the characters, Essence, and I did a fan drawing of it, and you really liked it, and I know that you commented on it. And then I just, I followed you on DeviantArt, and then when I stopped drawing, I kind of faded out into obscurity. And then eventually, I I saw, particularly in last year, 2011 now. You got to get used to that. But uh, I just saw your work, and it was like, more and more kind of integrated towards a bridging, especially with Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge, and just seeing things, as well as like doing some fan art for other bridge series. And then it was coming to the point right at the end of that year, it clicked. It's like, oh my god, this is the same person I loved when I was just starting to draw, and then I got in touch and I said, hey there, and then when I mentioned that that I liked you from for years on DeviantArt, and you went, and then you clicked, and it was like, oh my god, you're the same person. So we kind of like fanboy and fangirl over each other. It's like, wow, you're that same person. It's like, oh wow.
Yeah,
And
I was kind of floored actually
I know,
just to hear that. It's like, wait, what?
yeah, it's such a small world. So we just got
Mhm.
talking a bit more, and then I think it was the start of last year. I was debating about whether to start the comic, and just put the call out, and Dawn answered the call.
That's actually really nice to know that you guys were able to meet that way because I lose contact with so many of my friends on the internet. 2 years, 3 years, haven't talked to them. It's like, oh, they existed. I forgot. Whoopsie.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
just we rediscovered each other, and it was so.
Hmm.
I mean, really, on the internet, so the internet containing everything in the world ever, you just don't think that sort of thing would happen, but it did.
And it's just insane. And you're right in the fact that the internet friends. I mean, some of them just don't stick around long enough, and to get around this long after this many years is just insane.
Yeah,
Definitely. And I can relate too because one of my friends, you might have seen him at Yomicon. He was bald. I've known him since I was 11 from the internet. I promise he's not a pedo. And it's really weird to know that I've known someone that long more than I have like people in real life.
mm. It's always amazing when you get to like meet someone that you know on the internet and meet them in real life. Kind of really adds like a sense of reality to it. It just makes you think all those years of talking to them online, it actually now is real. It just adds that extra dimension, makes it even better.
They have expressions in their
Uh,
tone and their voice and they move around. They don't just, sit there as a paper cutout.
But they're actually real.
Exactly. Well, now for the listeners out there who are unfamiliar with the comic, will you explain a little bit of the storyline or the background for it?
yeah, sure. I'll start this off. This started off back in 2002, when I did some short films when I was 16, and I came up with this really really basic sci-fi short film called The Nomad, and it was basically about a guy called Helvidius traveling through the mountain region of Entaha in the year 1262. I was that specific. It was around, it was around lunchtime, but that's besides the point. Essentially, it was just a story about his best friend Tiberius coming to warn him that the evil Alarantor was out to get him, and Tiberius being killed in the process. So it was up to have a final fight, because having a battle with loads of special effects done in Final Cut 1.0. And I thought it was the business when I was young, and I look back on it. I've got a VHS copy, and I'm dying to get it on the internet or just get some kind of digital copy out there, but I just can't figure out how at the moment, or at least get the kit. But essentially, it went from there. It did well at this film festival. It got accepted, and then I brought it back because when I started doing voice acting, and I knew that I could actually, get some actors in. So I rewrote it and I added some more characters in. I added a completely new story behind it. Basic premise, but it added some more dimensions to it. And it became a 6-part radio play to which all 6 scripts exist, but 5 of the episodes were done. And, this was like back in the day of 2006, with people that have gone on to like do really great things, Christina V, Micah Solisod, Philip Sacramento, Taka from Team 4 Star, he was in there. But loads of people that that I know have gone on to become proper actors, were in this radio play. Oh, Kira Buckland as well, and it was just it just reminded me, and then it just went on the back burner. I was able to reuse it for my college thesis, but it did well in that. And then I just thought, well, I kind of want to write a novel, but then I realized I don't have the patience for that. So I needed a comic artist. I needed to make it into a comic, which is the next best thing, because I could write it, but it could be like as a script. I could adapt the scripts I already had. So this is when Dawn comes in. Dawn?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, after you had asked me to work on it, I mean, it was just a matter of getting together some character designs and trying to figure out what worked. So just by going what, the descriptions you gave me, just started throwing things together, which is what I usually do with most of my character designs, and most of it seemed to stick, right? I would think for the most part.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it right from the off, because essentially what beauty of it was is that I had the audio files and the scripts to hand, so I was able to give Dawn as much material as possible, and it just meant that she had the most material going and to get a really good idea of the characters. And when I saw the character artwork for the first time, it was fantastic. It was just, that is exactly what I looked for. I mean, there were a couple of discrepancies, for example, and being surprising is that I thought I asked for Isoria's chest to be smaller. Coming from a guy, but and it's just kind of accentuating Tuna's thighs and all that, kind of get like a Riku from Final Fantasy X vibe going on. But essentially, in terms of the actual overall look of the characters, they were right on the money.
The funny thing about Asoria's chest when we first talked about it was that I honestly thought they were small to begin with. That was my issue. I was like, wait, what? All right, I'll see what I can do? Question mark.
Yeah, I know. And then eventually, as we all have little in jokes, so eventually you end up like getting into like little gag comics or something, or little gag 1-page skits or 4 panels. But no, good way, because we can have fun with that and we just joke about it. It's just it's only it's not even a thing. It's just little thing. Just a little kind of suggestion. But other than that, the actual character concept just is dead on right from the off.
Well, I do have a question concerning the art, because the genre is sci-fi, and sometimes you have to draw like technology or ships or things like that. Is that difficult for you at all, Dawn?
It's extremely difficult, actually. um, from my gallery, I'm used to drawing female figures, which is, because it's just a habit of mine and it's just the easiest thing for me to draw. When Moscow came up to me about doing a sci-fi, and I didn't realize at the time that that's what I would be working on, would be, building structures, all different kinds of characters, and I had to do a little bit of research on it. So to start off, it was very difficult, but I mean, I'm starting to slowly get a little better as we go with each new page.
No, I definitely say so, because the cut, we've had a couple of pages that have been a bit, the sticking points, but thankfully that is something that could easily have caused loggerheads, but we've managed to like figure it all out, because it was all things that I kind of wanted to like think. And to be fair, there was things with dialogue and everything that we needed to like adapt, and I realized that I needed to change that. There were mistakes on my part that might not have helped Dawn in the way the artwork would have gone. But if it just flows a little better, it kind of somehow works with the art even more so. So it helps in both regards. So yeah,
Mhm.
there's a good structure, and I always make sure to give good feedback and get a good idea, especially with later pages, and I believe it shows.
Well, in
Yeah.
terms of dialogue, it seems in my experience for comics, sometimes you have to break it up into multiple pages or segments just because, a wall of text usually is never really something that people who are reading a comic want to look at. They're like, oh my God, am I reading a book or am I reading a comic?
Oh yeah,
Right.
we
Oh, go
had
ahead.
that. Yeah, we definitely had that at the end during the first chapter, Dawn, didn't we?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was just it was a bit of a mess, but um after, learning to cut things up and knowing where to stop the page has made a big difference. I like to think.
Definitely.
So it
And
seems like just adapting to, you adapting to her style of like placement and things like that, and her adapting to your script writing seems to be what makes everything turn out favorable, right?
exactly, I'd
I
say
think
so.
so. Like in the first couple pages, the way we did it, the way Moscow sent me the script was I'd look at the page and it was just like, this is what's all going to be on page one. And I'm like, well, okay, let's see how much we can fit on one page. And after doing that for a few pages, like, wait, this is not going to work. This is way too wordy, like you said. So we eventually had to, split it up. So now
Yeah,
it's come and goes.
exactly. And I believe that it works for the better, because it
Hmm.
means that now it means we don't have to worry about, I mean, yeah, whether we think it's going to be too short or it's going to be too skimpy. Because what originally chapter two was going to be 20 pages, but now we think it could be up to 30. But it just means that it's all well paced and it's not wordy, and there's plenty of real estate for good artwork. So, it just means that there's a lot more time for art and less for text. And text can be used more kind of strategically to act in terms of composition. So that means it can work with the artwork instead of just being on top of artwork, feeling kind of disconnected.
Hmm.
Well, now what's available to all the listeners out there and all the readers out there? It seems more like a prologue in terms of the overarching story. I'm just assuming because, I don't have the full script. I'm just caught up to where, you guys are up to the New Year's picture. So I'm curious, did you find it a little bit difficult to actually portray, a relationship essentially that is going that fast? In terms of like, they've met, they have to get together, and they have to do this, and they have to do this, and then, despair. Was that kind of hard to like fit the pieces of that together in a reasonable time span?
Well, no, not really, because in the original script, it was spaced set out into six parts, and the first part in the actual radio play of the first episode was only about 15 minutes of that. So it was 15 minutes of dialogue. We've managed to extend that into two chapters, so we kind of broadened it out a little bit in terms of an actual prologue. Kind of understanding the characters of Helvidius and Isoria, having their origins, where their parents met, how they came to be, their origins themselves as being half breeds on the world of Morocco, which it takes place on, and their mother is human, their father is Moroccan. The fact they have these differences, and just generally showing that there was just complications, and just getting a real understanding about where they came from, and there is a lot of contention further on in the story. So these first 2 chapters are prologues. Originally, this was just going to be a chapter 0, which I know that most comics do. But otherwise, I wanted to feel that there was a sense of progression going along, and in a way, it is related to the story. So it's not just like a normal story, and then oh yeah, this happens, but it has nothing to do with the story, or it has nothing to do with the story at hand. This actually, a lot of the stuff that comes up in the earlier parts will come up again later on, and it clicks, or it makes a bit more sense. So there is a lot of stuff attached to it.
Well, we'll have to look forward to that. And for all the listeners out there, we're going to go on a short break, but don't go anywhere because we'll still have our special guest back on when we're done. So keep it tuned to 91.8 The Fan. Everything you want and nothing you don't. Hey, everybody out there, you're still tuned to 91.8 The Fan because I don't think we'd change station IDs in about, 5 minutes. I think that'd be kind of hard. But I still have 2 awesome guests here. Would you guys like to remind everybody who you are?
Sure. My name is Dawn, otherwise known as Donry, and I am the artist of Project Jikoku.
And I am Masako X, voice actor on the internet, and the writer and co-creator of Project Jikoku.
Now, we've been talking a little bit behind the scenes about the process and everything else, but for the listeners out there who want to check out the comic, where can they do that?
Oh, where do we start?
Everywhere.
Right.
Preferably Volume 1, Chapter 1.
Yes. Well, basically, the first and foremost place is that we finally do have a website of our own, projectjikoku.com. So that's project jikoku.com. That's the main place where we upload things first. And we also have little tidbits there. We have extra sketches and illustrations, ways to contact us, sharing, extra bit, goodness to have a look at and get a good understanding about what Project Jikoku is all about. We have a Facebook page. We've got pages on Comic Fury, Smack Jeeves, Tapastic, Drunk Duck, Comic Dish, and Top Web Comics. Yeah, so we've definitely spread ourselves out a bit to get as much awareness out as possible.
Well, now, I have to wonder, when you update the comic, are you updating it in all these places too? Please tell me you have something automatic. So, you guys aren't like, okay, I updated here, here, and here. Did I forget any place?
Unfortunately, not all of them. Oh, go ahead.
No, we're so used to it now, basically. But when I get to the update time, I usually just get like all the places that we've got up ready. Then when the clock strikes midnight, or a little bit later, because actually the next comic page goes up tomorrow, because we update twice weekly on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So tomorrow we'll be getting a new page, and so I get all the places that we're meant to go to ready, and then just do it just go like have the upload page ready and just go bam, 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 bam. So it only takes about 10 minutes.
Oh, okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. Well, now in terms... Oh, I'm sorry. It seemed there was a little bit of lag there. But in terms of the fan reaction, what have people been saying that you guys have been picking up on?
Do you want to start this one?
Well, people do like it, and they've been really interested in it. I mean, people have not come out and flat out said it's terrible. They've certainly not said that. And people find it very interesting. They love the plot. They think the characters look really cool. They like Olympus in particular. And when the reaction at the beginning of chapter 2 came out, it was quite a consensus of, oh, yeah, they did not see it coming. Yeah, so there is a good reaction. Yeah, people think it has a lot of potential. That's a word I've seen a lot of. People say it's got potential, and that's why people are sticking to it. People are sticking because they like what they see, and they'll follow it. And really, that's the best thing That's the best thing we can hope for.
And overall, I think we've had a lot of good constructive criticism over the comics so far of what we've done. Basically, whether it comes to the writing style or the anatomy of the characters or backgrounds and things like that.
Well, it's nice to be able to put your work out there like publicly like this because you essentially get to be a better writer or a better, artist because you're getting criticism the entire time. Some of it might be, brutally negative, but a good deal of it'll be constructive and you can apply that to your work as you so choose.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, yes, exactly. I mean, yeah, we've never had give really measured understanding and just got a really strong kind of basis behind it. As in, essentially, people know what they're talking about when they come comic, so we don't have to worry about people being just rude, which be not being plain pleasant.
Yeah.
Well, now, are you guys planning to showcase the comic at any conventions or anything in the future? Any events like that?
Well, we have been talking about it. We've been thinking up of plans about what people would want to see. Uh, just yes, and ultimately, really, just like thinking about how to even get the comic out there. Would we want to self-publish them at all? Maybe have some ebooks available, or just have some content out there, like maybe some posters and stuff in an artist alley somewhere. Essentially, we just need to make sure what we could have in our inventory and then decide to showcase them properly in an artist alley convention at a convention somewhere. But for the most part, really, at my panels, uh, as more people become aware of it, it'll be people will ask more questions about it and get the word out. So yeah, it's definitely in our sights about getting a more of a direct presence there. We just need to get a good understanding and see how much the outlay would be in terms of getting like advertising hoardings and everything and all the kind of garb and jiggery pokery that loads of all the other webcomics have at conventions.
Well, now, I hope you don't mind me asking, but I know that you're over the pond, but I have no idea where Don is. Are you anywhere close to him? You can be as vague as you want if you feel uncomfortable, but
Oh, no, no. I'm actually in Ohio.
oh, okay. We have a shirt that you would love. It says Ohio gozaimasu, with a picture of your state. Plug. Anyway, so has that been difficult in terms of convention talk? Because, for example, maybe one of you can go to a convention, but the other can't.
Well, as you guys know, I'm not from your parts.
Yes.
I'm not local, so to speak. So, you know, literally as soon as I get off the air, I've got to go see because I got work in the morning. I've got to be up at 5:30 in the morning. But essentially, essentially, it does mean that there is a bit of time difference. 5-6 hours. So, but in terms of actually getting the comic done, it's no trouble at all because we can contact by email, and sometimes we contact each other by email. Once, twice, 3 times a day. And it's always just keeping in touch, making sure that we got like good ideas, we're on the same page with Jikoku.
Hmm.
But in terms of actual conventions, really at the moment, the best that we can hope for is really getting to Yomicon, having a
Hmm.
good thing, definitely having something a joint venture at Yomicon, because definitely be into chapters or even further down the line. But so we'll have had a stronger presence and a bit more kind of bedrock once we get to there. But I think we would probably want to have a good idea about what to have at conventions. Um, different types of conventions. But because I go to quite a few in England, and they're relatively small in comparison to US conventions, so I could easily trial run it and ask for some space to plug a webcomic or something, or maybe just getting some billboards to put around the convention or whenever I do a signing or something. So it's just a case of just trying out to see what works until we can actually get to a time where we can actually consider getting to a convention together, or at least a solid plan about how we can tackle it if it's just one of us.
Makes sense. Well, now, do you guys have any individual projects that you want the listeners to know about?
Um, for me, I'm actually good right now. I'm unfortunately not working on any side projects. Not yet. Anyways.
Well, can we keep up to date? Do you have a Twitter or do you have
Oh,
a public Facebook or anything like that?
well, yeah. Actually, I'm on Twitter. I'm Miss Donry, spelled MissDawnrie. And I'm actually on DeviantArt, so I'm at donry.deviantart.com. Um, that's best places you can get me at.
Yeah, and as for me, you kind of know the dealio. Basically, there's a project. There's obviously Team 4 Star Dragon Ball Z Abridged. My Twitter, MasterCoX. My actual professional website, if you ever want to like get some editing work done, is lawrence-simpson.com. And then, of course, there's two big Dragon Ball related projects that are coming in the works. There's, of course, a really cool fan animated series called Dragon Ball Absalom, which I'm voicing Goku in. Yeah, it's a four-parter series. It's really well animated because it's all animated by one guy, and the animation is really impressive. And so that's why I got on board. And then, of course, there's the big Goku versus Superman death battle on Screw Attack, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. It was delayed. It was meant to be on the 21st of December, but due to rendering and computer errors, it's been pushed back a little bit. But it's a big, big project, and I'm so looking forward to seeing the whole production.
Well, now, obviously, Moscow, you know about our tradition at the end of an interview to have a bump done, but I'm not sure if Don is necessarily aware. I'll explain it in a moment. But would you guys prefer to do a bump together, or since we've gotten a bump from you, Moscow, Don, would you just like to do a bump, which is basically say a line for us?
Um, I don't mind doing it together. That's fine.
Awesome. Then basically what we ask you to do is you could say, "Hello, my name is," I do this. So you would say, "Hi, I'm Dawn, and I am Moscow, and we work on this comic. And you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan." The trick of it, however, is that we do the takes live on air. So if you mess up, everybody hears
Oh, that's lovely.
it.
Good to know.
So whenever you guys are ready, you can bump away.
Okay. Hi, my name is Dawn, and I'm the artist of Project Jikoku.
I am MasterCoX, and I'm the writer of Project Jikoku.
And you're listening to 91.8 The Fan.
Really close. Can you do that last part one more time?
Sure.
Just the very last part.
Yeah. And you're listening to 91.8 The Fan.
Perfect. That wasn't so hard. See, artists can do it too. You don't have to be a
Sometimes.
voice actor.
Sometimes. You'd be surprised. I do some, just not a lot.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell the listeners or the fans out there?
Read Project Jikoku, please.
Yes, out Dawn's art, and of course Baked Goods, her other awesome webcomic, and just generally just keep on trucking.
Yeah.
Good advice for 2013. Don't give up. Keep on trucking. So thank you very much for this, guys. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And for anybody out there, if you missed any of this interview, don't fret. You can find it on the website within the next few days. So keep your eyes peeled to 918thefan.com and your ears tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't.